To the program about this time each and every Thursday, we have a chance to visit with our friend Sheree Clark.
We get up very early for this show.
Right.
You earlier than the other two of us, but and so it's tough. Sometimes we get very tired. It's tough to get to sleep. It's tough to stay asleep, and maybe you folks out there have some of the same issues. Well, Sheree is going to give us some ideas for natural ways to get to sleep and to stay asleep. Welcome back to 50 Shades of Grey. I'm Jason Park, and in reality, it's time for Fork in the Road, and our friend Sheree Clark has joined us here. Let me get this thing off. And as you might have guessed, the subject here, goodness, it's bright in here, is sleep, and it's a subject that's near and dear to all of our hearts here because to do this program, we get up very early, and sometimes it's hard to get to sleep. A lot of times we don't get enough sleep, and you've got some solutions for people.
I do indeed, Jason, and I know that it's not just people who work strange shifts, that every one of us has some issues, sometimes falling asleep, staying asleep, disrupted sleep, whatever. So it's a big topic.
Right.
I brought along some things that serve as aids, and it's funny that we started the segment with the mask because that is one of the things. But before we talk about exactly what the things are that could help with sleep, let's get to the root of the problem, because in any health issue that we're dealing with, getting to the root of the problem is really the answer.
Right.
So the first thing that I always ask when people tell me that they have trouble sleeping is I ask them about their lifestyle. What kinds of things are you doing? So the first and foremost, and the one that I'm finding most prevalent, particularly in today's day and age, is the bedroom is made for two things, and one of those is sleeping. So if you've got a television and your computer and all kinds of things that are going on in there, exactly, the phone, and most of us, many of us sleep with it on the bedside. Young kids sleep with it under their pillows. So not only is there the distraction and the constant the risk of being interrupted, but the electromagnetic frequencies and fields that are there are disruptive to the brain.
Okay.
So watching TV late at night, especially an action movie, you know, then you're all kind of wound up as it is. Exactly.
Right.
And then you turn off the light and somebody just got killed and you're going to go to sleep. So not so good.
Right.
The other thing, other nighttime activities are too much exercise, too late.
Too late, right.
You get wound up, you get energized, you go to the gym, you do your cardio, you come back, you're all wound, and so you're like, okay, well, I'll knock off some more work. Then it gets later, you don't get to bed on time, and all of those sorts of things.
And you're tired the next day.
Precisely. You don't think you're going to be because you feel great when you go to bed, but then you just didn't get enough of your REMs, and so that's another thing. The other thing about late night is eating. People eat too late at night, and that will keep them up. So a good rule of thumb is stop eating 3 hours or more before you plan to go to bed.
Okay.
So if 10 o'clock is your bedtime, like mine is between 10 and 10:30, I stop eating. I eat no later than 7, and the earlier the better.
Okay.
The more you're sleeping, or the more you're eating late at night, the harder it's going to be to sleep.
Okay.
So those are some things. Then you had the shade on when we.
And I'll have you show these things to Andrew.
Yes,
they're on that camera.
This is just a simple. This is an inexpensive, just a little kind of a night mask. It's dark. It blocks out light. A really good solution would be those blackout curtains, but they're expensive.
They are.
And a lot of people aren't going to be able to spring for those. So this is a $5 version. There's $25 versions. There's fancier ones. I like this one because it's plain and it's simple and it keeps things dark. So dark is really important. Keeping the light out. That's another reason to have the TV out of there. Electromagnetic fields, all those things. The other thing, your alarm clock gives off light. So if that's next to your bed, move it away. The other secret to that is if it goes off and you have to go across the room to turn it off, you're more likely to stay up.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's going to get you out of bed.
Right. So there's a few other things that I brought here. One of them is a supplement, and that would be calcium. And I've got it here in two forms. This one is called Calm. It's a brand name of a magnesium supplement. You add it to hot water and then just sip it. Some people take it right before bed. I don't like to take it immediately before bed because if I do too much right before bed, I'm going to have to get up in the middle of the night to use the restroom.
Right.
So I'm cautious about that. Another alternative, old school here, is simply Epsom salts.
Okay.
And you might remember your parents using that for a laxative or for whatever with your kid when you're a kid. It's great in the bathtub. A warm bath, not too hot, but a warm bath a couple hours before bedtime, not immediately before, because your body temperature will be real elevated and then you'll start sweating and then you're not as easy to sleep. But an Epsom salt bath is great at night. One, it gets the magnesium into the bloodstream through the pores, and two, if you've got muscle soreness or aches or things from working working out, which you should, because you should be working out,
right,
because that'll help you sleep, then that'll be helpful with that as well.
Yeah, and I've heard that it really does help muscle soreness a lot.
It's fabulous for that. It's really good, and it's also good for sometimes people with some depression, some anxiety, those kinds of things. It's a real good calmative for that. Don't underestimate it. It sounds like, oh yeah, you know, how good can it be? I don't need a prescription. It is good. Melatonin is another one. Some people use this. If you're buying melatonin, and with any of these aids, I suggest that people seek guidance from others. It's really tempting to just go into the store and buy something off the shelf and say, good, problem solved, check.
Right.
But melatonin comes in different strengths. This is 5 milligram, there's 3, there's other ones. You'll want to take it in a way that's conservative and go up so that if you need more, you can take more. You can always do it that way. Don't take too much at the beginning. It's just disruptive.
Now, should you be careful with this, because you're kind of messing with your clock? With melatonin is one of those things that helps your body adjust itself during the day, right?
Right, and people use it a lot for travel. I would say that about any of these things. I'd say the best way is the natural way. Learn to manage your lifestyle so that you sleep well without anything, and so that this is the exception rather than the rule. If I see or hear that people are doing this on a night-to-night basis, I'd say we're not addressing the problem, we're addressing the symptoms.
Right.
So we really need to be mindful of that.
Gotcha.
There are lots of herbs and other things. Valerian is one of them, and this is just simply a valerian tea. There are all kinds of different teas. Sleepy Time is another one. This one's Nighty Night. Some have chamomile. You've certainly heard of that. I picked valerian because so many people are already familiar with chamomile. I wanted them to know there's another herb. And then we've also got essential oils are an option too. Lavender, as you know, is a really calmative herb. Lavender smells nice. It's a pretty flower. This is a brand of essential oil that I find helpful. I put a couple of drops of this on the bottoms of my feet, and then what's left on my hands, I'll go like this, maybe rub it through my hair, wipe it off on my pillowcase, and it's a nice calmative, nice aroma, and it really does help foster sleep.
Okay.
And these things can be used in conjunction with one another, but.
Okay, so just maybe experiment a little bit and see what works for you.
I think experiment a little bit, but I'm going to underscore again, at the natural food stores here in town, we've got several of them. The people there seem to be really helpful and knowledgeable. Go in and tell them, because if your problem with sleep is you're worried about something, and my problem with sleep is I've got too many magnetic fields going on, or my travel schedule's off, or I've got a new baby, our reasons for lack of sleep are different, so our solutions will be different. So what works for you may not be the solution for me.
Okay.
So that's the whole bottom line, is make sure that we're really dealing with the thing and not just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Can people get a hold of you with questions?
Absolutely. If you want to drop me an email, you would hit me at info@fork-road.com.
Okay.
And if you wanted to visit my website, it's www.fork-road.com.
And people can watch you on weekends here on KCWI.
They will be able to later in the spring. Yes, we will be on Sundays at 11 again.
At 11 again. Yeah. Sheree, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Great advice here for people, and this is a big problem and a life-altering problem in some cases. So appreciate the advice. We've got much more as Great Day continues. Stay tuned.
Good night.